How do you appreciate the Romanian minority standards comparing to the existing standards in other countries from the European Union, like Greece or France? They don't even have the concept of the national minority.
You are talking about standards in the framework of national minorities. Listen, it is not necessary to have rules and standards for protecting national minorities. It's important that the minorities are well treated on an equal footing without any discrimination. So, but in some countries, it has been chosen to have a discipline, a legislation, a set of rules concerning the minorities. I would say that the Romanian model is a good one. We have done a lot in order to improve the minority protection. You have many minorities here, one which is more important in number, of course, but every minority is important if it is a small one. And I would say that I can say, I can measure it by the diminution of the requests of opinion concerning minority rights to the Venice Commission. At the beginning of the Venice Commission in the 90s, we received a lot of requests because things were not good or in place in many countries. But step by step, this number of requests diminished. Now we have very few requests concerning minorities. So the model, I think, is working. The minorities in Romania should be satisfied. Nobody is never satisfied. Everybody wants always a little bit more. But there is a spirit of compromise here, and the authorities, the minorities, the majority, try to find always a good solution. One thing should be improved. There is one minority, which is a very important one, the Roma minority. And I think more should be done for this important European minority.
We are making this interview inside of the biggest university from Transylvania, Babeș-Bolyai University, which is a model of multiculturalism. Do you think that the undergraduate and university education could be an important element for the national minority issue?
Yes, of course. This is a good example of interculturality. I didn't know this university before being invited to come. But I discovered it's a very good university, a very old one, the oldest university in Romania. It dates back to the 16th century. And I appreciate very much that the teaching is done in several languages, in Romanian, in Hungarian, in German, but also in Jewish, I think, and the other languages. And there is a big participation from students from other countries, Italians, French, etc. So this is a very good example which should be followed also by other countries.
Mass media for minorities in Romania has a very diverse representation. Newspapers, magazines, TV shows broadcasted in minorities' languages. All of this while in other European countries, Hungary for example, the access of minorities at mass media in their native language is not accessible. Do you think is necessary a standard in this field too?
You refer to the accession to media in minority languages. But I think you have a lot of media in Romania,
yes,
but also in other countries.
But Hungary, for example, they don't have.
Sorry?
Hungary, for example, they don't have.
It's a pity because, of course, we must be realistic. We cannot, a country cannot do everything people want. There are some limits, of course. You have done a lot in this sense. You could even do more and better. Other countries are a little bit less developed in this field, which is not a real obligation. It depends on this necessary dialogue between the majority and the minority. And as I said, the spirit of compromise must be dominant. in order to avoid conflicts. You know, until the fall of the Berlin Wall, 89, nobody spoke about minorities in Europe. We had some problems in Italy, which were solved very well, by the way, in the northern part of Italy, with the German-speaking minority. But after several years and efforts, there was a very good compromise, and everybody is happy since then. But in general, nobody spoke about minorities, because at that time, minorities problem was like a problem in a pan with the on top. It was closed because of the different regimes in the Central and Eastern Europe, especially in former Yugoslavia. When the Berlin Wall fell down and all these dictatorships ended, of course, the minority problem became apparent, important, and urgent to solve in order to avoid conflicts, even interstate conflicts. So that's why the first action of the Venice Commission was to draft a convention on the protection of minorities already in '91. Then that draft, our draft, was taken over by the Council of Europe as such, and they drafted and adopted the Framework Convention on the Protection of National Minorities, which is the most important instrument in this field. And since then, there was a lot of attention paid to the problem of minorities at the international level. And many good steps were taken by the individual countries, Romania, but also Hungary, Slovakia, Croatia, etc. And now, step by step, the problem has become less hard, less important. As I said, to never finish, because all the time people would like to have some other things, a little bit more, etc. But I think that globally the situation is, could be considered good now in Europe in general.
What do you think Romania should do more for the Roma minority? You said that it's a problem, still a problem.
I'm not an expert in this field, but I know that this is a European problem, not only in Romania. In Romania it's particularly important because you have a lot of Roma living in Romania, but also in other countries, and also in Western Europe. The problem is very acute, and more should be done in order to respect the culture. The Roma people doesn't want to be integrated or assimilated, etc. They have their own culture, and this culture should be respected, and the state should do everything possible, but again, one must be realistic, in order to offer better life condition to the minorities in general, and especially to Roma.
Thank you very much for this interview.
It was a pleasure.